Hello everybody, this is Gone Turbo. In today's video I wanted to share with you my ultimate modding guide for Skyrim Special Edition. This is for the Xbox One. I've been wanting to make this video for quite a while now, and I think the time is right. It's the end of 2019, and this video is going to apply to the end of 2019, 2020, and probably for as long as we keep playing Skyrim Special Edition on the Xbox One. And I wanted to start with an acknowledgement that some of you have made comments with some of my other videos in regards to you've picked up this game, you've never modded before, you're new to modding, or you've had this game for a while and have decided now to start modding, and it can be extremely overwhelming if you're coming into this a little bit later on. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because it can be very confusing, it can be overwhelming, and having been playing this special edition since it came out and really keeping up with what's been coming out for mods, been showcasing them on my channel, I have been testing them, and I have been posting load orders that focus on the way your game looks and number of other different things. So throughout the last few years that this game has been out, I have been keeping up with mods and kind of know what to do when it comes to guiding you in the right direction. So that's what I aim to do today, a little bit more in depth. So that's the flavor of this video. The Bethesda modding menus, I guess, whether you're doing it through Xbox One like you're seeing here or through their web page, can be a little bit, it's not the best. It's not the best. It can be a little bit confusing, it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially again if you're not sure really what to do or if you've ever really done this before. So I'm going to give you a quick overview and go over some very important things to note when it comes to modding this game. I can relate to this on another level, and that is through Fallout 4. So I came into Fallout 4 a little bit later in the game, and I don't play it that much, and it was again kind of overwhelming to know what's really out there for the best mods, and how do I go about finding them. So I can relate to how it can get a little bit overwhelming when it comes to trying to figure out how to mod this game. So first and foremost, through the Xbox menu, going to mods, you come to this interface here, and scrolling up and down, you're going to come across these different categories that also within each category scroll left to right. There's always featured mods at the top. I don't know the rhyme or reason to why they're featured. I think they're pretty random. You come to my library and my favorites. I'll talk about this a little bit more in just a moment, because this is important to know and distinguish between the two and how to alter them a little bit. You get into most popular, and by pressing the triggers you can filter these by most popular of all time, most popular today, this week, this month, highest rated, and most favorited. Again, you can pull the trigger to filter these. Under that is the latest category, and this is what I visit maybe a handful of times a week. At one point visiting this every day, but now I visit it at least a couple times a week for sure, and I keep up with what is coming out, what is latest. This is where you're going to want to go, obviously, to find the latest mods. And to the left is the absolute latest posted mod, and as you go to the right in kind of a time frame, the further you go, the less recent each one came out. So more recent, and most recent to this date and time. Below that, you then get into alphabetical categories: animals, armor, audio, buildings, characters, cheats, and so on and so on. And again, left is the most recent posted mod to right. At the very bottom of this menu, is a category called Work in Progress. This is kind of a little unknown gem of these modding menus. This is where, if I understand this correctly, where mod authors can go to test out mods. And in some cases, these will actually work and work well, and for some reason never really make it up to, I don't know, the latest category. Some descriptions will say, don't use this mod. I'm testing this, don't use this mod. And in other cases, it will work fine. So this is kind of the seedy underbelly, literally, of the modding menus here. Another thing to note is that when a mod author posts a mod, they can tag, well, it probably isn't showing here, but they can tag these different categories to the mod. So a mod like Cathedral Landscapes, this covers, for example, obviously landscape textures, grasses, mountain textures, let's see what else, flora, plants. So they might tag different categories, models and textures. Overhaul is a category. Let's see. Landscapes, so there it is there again. Graphics, so there it is there again. Foliage, environmental, there it is there again. So as a mod author tags those mods to these categories, you can find them within these categories. That can also make it a little bit overwhelming, because you might be looking for a building of some kind. Maybe you're like, yeah, we'll see what's out there for buildings. And you're getting this Crispy Lights mod. Now probably this Crispy Lights mod affects buildings, and the mod author feels that it can categorize in buildings because it affects buildings. That's just an example. So it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. You know, Skyland All-in-One. Skyland All-in-One is not a particular building, rather a retexture of buildings. So that's where I never really visit all of these other miscellaneous, well, not miscellaneous, but all these other categories. I pretty much avoid those completely. I just stick to the latest and see what's out there. And even the most favorited or most popular for the week is also a nice place to go. So I'd recommend kind of sticking to the top categories here to kind of see what's out and what's popular. So my library and my favorites. When you go to a mod, you can favorite it, and if you favorite it, it will obviously show up in this category. The mods that I use and or may use, I favorite because it will end up with a little heart on this in this row here. Library is a little bit more confusing. When you download a mod, it's added to your library, and you can't unsubscribe to it through Xbox. You have to go to the Bethesda website, log in, go to your mods, and click to remove it from your library. That will then remove it from this row. So that's a little bit of a weird thing that happens. I can't figure out how to remove it from your library through Xbox, and I don't believe deleting it would remove it from your library. I may be incorrect there, but I don't believe it will remove it if you just delete it. So I'm going to find something here that I might be able to. All right, I'm actually going to delete Markarth. No, I can't. See, I can't delete it. I have it favorited, which would remove it from my favorites, but I can't. So you have to go through the website to deactivate. There's a little checkbox you click to take this out of your library. The other thing about each row is that it only goes so far. So as I scroll to the left here, or to the right, I'll get to a stopping point. Now I have more mods than this. I can't go any further to the right. Same goes for all of these rows here. Like for the latest, I can only scroll so far to the right before it stops. So if I haven't kept up on latest mods, then I'm kind of, the only choice is to go online and scroll that way. It only goes so far. So that's why I'm keeping up, again, daily, if not a handful of times each week, to make sure I'm not missing any of the latest mods that come out. That's how to navigate through these menus. Okay, I think I have covered everything I wanted to cover in navigating and figuring out these menus. Again, I favorite the mods that I want to keep at the forefront. So if anything ever happens to my actual load order, I can go back and reference which ones I was using. I'm going to click on my load order here, and we'll get into this part now. I favorite mods because if I ever delete something here, or if for some reason I wipe out my reserve storage and re-download everything, then I can just basically go to my favorites and download mods from there. If you find a mod you like, you obviously click on it and download it. And again, if you favorite it, it will show up in your favorites list. It will automatically go to your library. When you download a mod, it's going to show up obviously in this menu, and it will show up at the very bottom of your mod list. And from there, you can reorder it to where it should go, or where you want it to go in your load order. How this basically works, I've been trying to think of a way to visualize this and explain it in a way that makes layman's terms sense. The mods at the top of your load order will obviously present itself in your game. Anything under that will overwrite what's above it. So for example, Graphics Pack. Graphics Pack has a tremendous amount of graphical changes to objects. So this is going to improve the look of, let's use, firewood, baskets, all kinds of textures. But it also changes and improves the textures of cities. So the textures of Windhelm, Whiterun, Solitude, Riften will all have a new and improved look. However, I personally do not like the way that Graphics Pack changes the stones in Whiterun. So under Graphics Pack, I have a mod called Whiterun Stonewalls. This is just one single mod. This is just one single texture that retextures Whiterun to have different stone walls. And it says placed below any graphics overhaul or Whiterun texture mod. This essentially will overwrite the particular little file in Graphics Pack that particularly changes Whiterun stone walls. So as things kind of cascade down, as little files within these mods cascade down the load order, anything below will overwrite what's above it. That's the best way I can describe it. And those graphics mods are really kind of the best way I can use for an example. Another example, just a number of different graphics mods here. Detailed rugs. So if I don't think the graphics packs has any detailed rugs, but if there's something above this that has to do with changing rugs that I don't like, then this will overwrite that because I perhaps like this one better. All right, so in a way it's kind of blocking what's cascading down in terms of that little piece of file that would overwrite the mod. Another example, I don't think I have it anymore because it was taken down, but there was a mod that changed the way, so graphics pack changed the way venison looked. It was kind of a gray color, and I liked the vanilla look, which was more of a brown color, and I had put that mod towards the bottom here, which overwrote the graphics pack look of venison. So that's how really that works when it comes to mods overriding each other in a load order. In terms of where to put mods, there's two popular templates to use. One is the Dropbox load order document, which I use to sort my mods. I have a link in the description. And the other popular mod sorting template is Tarshana's load order. I have not personally used that one, but folks say they use it and have success with it. So those are the two most popular load order templates to use. When I come across a mod that I want to use, if it's not in the Dropbox load order, I think about what category it best fits in, and I put it there. So check out that link in the description for the Dropbox load order. All right. Finally, and probably most importantly, if you're coming into this game in 2019, 2020, excuse me, and are not sure and saying, what mods do I use? What am I looking for when it comes to changing the look of the game? It's a hard question to answer, because the beauty of modding is you can make and do whatever you want your game to be, provided your game doesn't crash and have problems. That's why I again recommend a load order document like Tarshana or Dropbox load order. So in terms of what mods to look for that might be the best out there, again, if you're really lost like I am when I go into Fallout 4 thinking about what mods are out there if I want to change the look of different textures or something, what's really the best that's out there? The best is really what you might like in terms of what the textures change. There's different, regardless of the categories in this list down here, like environmental, regardless of, again, this can be confusing. You really have to think about a number of different things. So in my load order, I'll just use mine for the best example. At the top of the load order, it really focuses on graphical overhauls. All right, so graphics pack is a popular overhaul, big file size, going to take up quite a bit of space for memory. And they change so many different things in the game. Textures of all these objects, buildings, 200 different meshes, which is actually the way the object looks, versus textures, which is the way, whether it's higher resolution texture or maybe it's just a totally different look to the grain in the wood or the fabric in the clothes or the detail on the armor, things like that. Or maybe the sweet roll has a completely different look to the delicious frosting on top kind of thing, that kind of stuff. Meshes are if that sweet roll looks completely different than the sweet roll that you might be used to. I don't know. but that's the idea there. So mods that overhaul the, I don't want to say the entire, but a tremendous amount of textures, like Graphics Pack. There are mods that do something similar to Graphics Pack, like Dark Ages series of mods. Noble Skyrim does a number of different overhaul texture changes. Static Mesh Improvement Mod, or SMIM, is a mod that changes many different objects in the way they look. I'm just throwing some names out here, this part of the video. Skyrim Graphic Overhaul is another one, SGO, that is similar to Graphics Pack, that changes the look of many objects in buildings. Some mods, like Noble Skyrim or Dark Ages, might change also mountains, but some mods like Graphics Pack might not. So knowing what the mod covers is important, because some of these packs might not cover certain things, and some of them might cover certain things, may or may not cover certain things. So my load order pretty much touches every single object in the game: buildings, objects, landscape textures, armors, clothing, characters. I think everything but male characters is changed in this load order that I have. Just about. Another popular category are landscape mods. Sometimes you see this little like rainbow IMG icon here. I don't know what that is, just some kind of glitch I see in a lot of people's load orders these days. Rustic Lands is an example of a mod that covers all landscape textures, meaning the ground textures. So if you're in the tundra outside Whiterun, you're going to get a certain change to the look of the texture in a more detailed way, higher resolution, better looking. The ground cover in the Rift, the forest floor. I think this particular one doesn't cover snow, so I use Nordic Snow, which is further down in my load order. But other landscape mods like Skyland, mods like Vivid Landscapes, Osmodeus, Cathedral Landscapes. These are some major popular landscape texture mods that do some of the same thing that the one I choose, which is Rustic Lands. So keep track of these names I'm throwing out, because these are the ones that are the most popular that you're going to be able to search for and find. Skyland is probably one of the most popular ones out there. Rustic Lands, one of the most popular ones out there. There are some side mods to some of these bigger packs, like Skylands. I like the towns and villages. This just changes the look of farmhouses, mills, the logs and the wood of fencing in different farm-like towns. I like the way this looks versus what the Graphics Pack provides, for example. So again, it overwrites Graphics Pack. There's a series of different kinds of textures that change: Imperial, forts and dungeons, caves and mines, Nordic tombs and ruins. So those kinds of interior textures, which are vast and expansive in Skyrim, have these changes. Again, different kinds of mods will make these changes as well, including Skyland, Dark Ages, Nordic, Skyrim. I prefer this mod author's look. I think these are the most almost photorealistic here. T4 GTR 34UM3R creates these two mods here. There's also one for Imperial Forts and Dungeons, but I like the Skyland one a little bit better. There are some mods that will change the way some of your bigger towns and cities look. And I wouldn't say that the way they look, but some of these city overhauls will basically add or remove objects. Divine Cities is very popular. Folks have some problems with this in terms of the game functioning properly. A lot of people get crashes when they use Divine Cities, and some folks have said, hey, I'm having problems with my game, can you make a suggestion? And I say, do you have Divine Cities? Why, yes, I do. Well, delete that and see what happens, and sure enough, the game runs properly. So Divine Cities is one city overhaul that adds and may even remove some objects in all of the different cities. JK's Skyrim is another cities town overhaul that adds different objects to the game. So these can be fun and immersive, adding some neat characteristics to the game. JK Skyrim, Divine Cities are some of the more popular ones that are out there. And there's a series of mods also. I'm not going to go to my menu now, but a little while back when I went to my library, and there was I think it was a Markarth, Whiterun, and something else mod. Those are individual for making some neat changes to specific cities. I think those are Skeletor's mods that do that as well. So there's some of those that are out there. Let's see. I have a lot of random mods here that I'm not going to go into specifically, but I have a couple of sound mods. These are pretty popular here. I'm not sure the mod author, but there's these kind of series of mods here that add all kinds of different effects. Your perks, 155 spells. There's some of these that change and give you more options for character races, things like that. Weather and lighting. Now, this is an area that I focus on a lot and have pretty much covered every weather mod that has come out in one video or another. Weather and lighting will dramatically change the way your game looks. So if anybody is watching this that is new to modding, weather is, in my opinion, the most important thing to knowing that it will completely change the look of your game. I guess I would recommend that if you start to search for weather and lighting mods, check out some of my videos and take a look and see if you like what my screenshots and videos provide and some of my feedback. Rustic Weathers and Lightings is right now my my favorite. I also like Mythical Ages. It's a more fantasy kind of look and colorful kind of look to the game. I think Rustic Weathers, however, is the most natural and gives kind of a somber medieval feel to the game. Gosh, there's so many that are out there. And I'm going to show you a trick in just a second that will help you with finding and choosing the right weather mod. True Storms is another very popular mod that lightly overhauls your storm system in Skyrim. You'll get better rain textures, snow textures, and also sound effects. So I always use this in conjunction with a weather mod with these patches that are from the mod author Desmera, and these allow you to combine a weather mod with True Storms with some options. So this one here keeps all of the original stormy aesthetics from Rustic Weathers and simply just changes the rain, snow effects, and audio. So I'm not getting the True Storms look, I'm getting the Rustic Weathers look, but I'm getting the True Storms textures, which is what I seek. A couple other of neat weather pieces here that are just something that I like. Okay, another important feature to go over is landscape grass. So landscape mods don't change grass, they change the way the ground looks, but grass mods change the way your grass look. I'm using Unique Grasses, very lightweight grass mod that I think just looks fantastic. There's a lot of other grass mods that are popular, such as Vidosprum, Verdant. Those are the most two popular that come to mind. Cathedral Grasses is another one that I really like, that I have highlighted just recently. I would recommend checking out those three. There's also one called Grassy Fields, which is really cool. It kind of just blankets grassy areas with a fine looking green or orange grass. Really nice. Lush Overhaul and Dense Grass are two mods that obviously do what they say. So Lush Overhaul will kind of beef up the trees and bushes and plants around Skyrim, adding layers of additional meshes, I guess. So you're getting more branches on trees, or you're getting more branches and leaves on plants and bushes and things. Dense Grass specifically increases the number of meshes to grass, so you're getting more. It just looks fuller and denser, more dense. If you're having performance problems, then Lush Overhaul might be one to not use. That's just a suggestion there. So I'm going to go and show you something that can help when it comes to finding more about some of these specific mods. So in this menu, if I go back and I go to search, I press X and I go to search. This is kind of the most unhelpful search bar in the history of video games, because sometimes if you type in something in an exact word, it doesn't ever sometimes show up. So, but if I type in grass, my results for grass are going to pretty much give me anything that's out there for grass mods. I would recommend typing grass for a good overview of the best that's out there. Cathedral Landscapes, again. Actually, no, this one is changing. Well, this one's changing a lot of things here. This is specifically for grass, ground cover plants. I'm just looking for the one. So you got to read the description sometime, which isn't always helpful either. Some mod authors add more than others. But Skyrim Floral Overhaul is another one that's very popular. So you can just add flowers to your to fields and things like that. But as we go over further, all right, Northern Grass, another one that's going to change all of the grass in your game. Lightweight Grass Overhaul. That's not it. This does grass and landscapes and level and background. So you got to look, 740 megabytes is a huge chunk. Cathedral Concept. Okay, is this it? Jeez. Cathedral Concept's got a lot of options. I was just looking for just the grass one. So you can see how it can be a little bit tricky. Is this it? Oh yeah, there it is. See, I got the heart. I favorited it. So here it is, 71 megabytes. This is just changing the grass in the game, not the landscape texture, not the background, not blah blah blah, just the grass. So there's an example of again, typing grass, you can find all these different kinds of options. Oh, let's see. Unique Grasses, the one I use, the one I like. I'm worried that I'm going to get to the end of this row and I'm going to get, it's going to stop. Vidosprum is another popular one. All right, so here are the Vidosprum mods here. You can get normal, dense, or less dense. Verdant, all right, so here's another one right here. Take a look. This is another one that's very popular, very good looking grass mod. If you like the look of vanilla, then Dense Grass, I'm at the end here. Dense Grass is a great mod to use if you just want to stick with vanilla grass, which isn't bad either. All right, I'm going to click search again. I'm going to type in weather. And if you type in weather, you're going to get a good chunk of what's out there for weather overhauls. So again, here we have some Armour, which what that has to do with weather, I'm not sure, but probably in this description, the mod author used weather somewhere, and it's just finding it and pulling it up, kind of like Google does, I guess. I don't know. See, there's all these different mods, weather mods to use. Again, it can be a little overwhelming, but I would recommend checking out my videos to get a sense of what's out there, because I've really only highlighted videos or mods that in my opinion are the best that are out there. So if this is still a little bit overwhelming, then hopefully my channel will help. So gosh, so much more has been added just by typing in weather. And see, I'm at the end of the row. There's still so much more that I could peek at. Sometimes lighting, or if I type weather and lighting, I might get a more specific result. Let's see. Cathedral Weathers and Seasons, pretty popular recently. Equinoctium. I'm at the end of the row. But again, Mythical Ages, Rustic Weathers, Obsidian Weathers and Seasons, Vivid Weathers are really my top favorite when it comes to weather and lighting mods. So going back to my load order, a couple other miscellaneous things when it comes to changing up music. My only female texture change mod is Texture Tweaks, female face edits. I just gotta give this one a shout out. 31 megabytes, and I think, man, this is a strong contender to all the other beauty mods that are out there that are, you know, hundreds and hundreds of megabytes. It just looks fantastic when it comes to female body face textures. It's just faces, but it changes all of the characters in the game, and just looks really nice. Just high quality for 31 megabytes. I don't know what it is. Doesn't change hair. It doesn't change body, but the face edits are really great. Some mods like armor and clothing mods can be pretty abundant. I would recommend Armor and Clothes Overhaul. Huge mod, but changes clothing and armors in the game, and even some weapons, I believe, a couple. If you have something else that you want to try to overwrite it, so like I have black and gold elven armor because I don't like the way this mod changes the elven armor, so this overwrites it sometimes. Seems to do that. some weapons mods, and then just some miscellaneous things, again depending on what your gameplay might be like. Like I have milk your cows and goats, so milk is hard to come by in the game, and unless you buy a house through Hearthfire and I don't know, like get a person to help, then you can get milk every so often, but then you can't make your sweet rolls as often as you might want to. But this will allow you to get milk by milking your cows. Just stuff like that. Interior lighting mods is another very abundant category. There's all kinds of interior lighting mods. If you type interior lighting, you're going to get a number of different things. ELE interior lighting overhaul. If you'd like a natural look, then just go with this one. You know, using torches and lanterns, there's no problems. Gives a nice spooky feel to caves and dungeons, realistic feel, a nice warm hearty feel to inns and taverns with ELE interior lighting. just been playing around with some other ones here. But there's a number of different other interior lighting mods. Divine Interiors, ELFX are other popular ones as well. There's also a number of different water mods, water texture mods, and again, all in the eye of the beholder. But Realistic Water 2 is an incredibly popular one, my favorite. There's a number of different mods by the author of the Skyland mods, that John Rose, who changes some of the color of the water, which is kind of neat. Make it look a little bit more, I don't know, what's the word? I can't think of it. I'm running out of brain cells here towards the end of this video. So yeah, so that's a little bit about my load order and some of the major mods that are out there. I'm just kind of throwing out some names right now. If you have some questions about a particular category that you're seeking to change in your game, just shoot me a comment and I'll do my best to answer your question in regards to what might be best for a particular change. Looking to change your textures for animals? I might have some suggestions for that. Belly Aches Mods is a mod author, or a name of some mods that really nicely change the textures of all creatures, furs and skins and things like that. So anyway, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover in this ultimate modding tutorial. I can't think of anything else. If there's anything else that I might have forgotten and you've watched this long, first of all, thank you very much, and throw a comment if there's anything right now that I might be forgetting. So thank you for watching. This has been Gone Turbo, and I'll talk to you again soon.